So yeah, I'm super excited to stretch with you guys today. I need this as well, and I'm really looking forward to sharing some things. Is this aspect a little bit better? Yes? I hope, because you guys need to be able to see my body a little bit. So why is stretching for singers a thing? We stretch for dance. We stretch for various sports. We stretch before we run and after we run. So why don't we just do those stretches? Well, singers are, there are a lot of people now call singers vocal athletes. We use muscles to sing, just like any other activity. And we use a particular set of muscles more than others for certain coordinations like breathing and phonation and support. I like to use quotations when I use the word support. But because of that, these particular muscles need a little extra attention because we are subject to the same physical constraints as any other activity. And so we can also get what are called repetitive stress injuries. So what I've done over the years is I've compiled some stretches that are very targeted for singers. So that I'm going to take you through a few of those today, and hopefully you feel better. And so your assignment at the end of this class is to go and sing. Go and warm up. And what I've found is if you stretch your body, then the vocal warm-up portion of things goes much faster and easier because all of the muscles that need to coordinate have been stretched and warmed up, okay? Now, my little disclaimer before we start, some of these stretches are intense. Some of these stretches are very deep. If you have an underlying physical condition, like with your back or your neck, things like that, please be extra careful. Hear your doctor's voice in your head and make sure that you always, always listen to your body and only do what your body is willing. Jean Levitri says something that I love. I took this from her. She says, do not make your body do anything. Ask what it can do and then respect those limits. So that's what we're going to do today, okay? So we're going to start from the bottom up. We're actually going to start with our hips. And just for fun, I thought I would do all of these stretches in a chair because we're all in our chairs all day long. So, and that adds particularly more issues to our singing because sitting all day is just really not good for us. So this is the chair version of singer stretches, okay? All right, so I'm going to have to move my phone around so you guys can see me. And I'm in a chair with a back. So if you do not have a chair with a back, you might want to go get one now. I'm going to have to move things around still because I need to get, what if I do this? You guys need to be able to see my hips when I do this. I had it all set up on my computer. Come sit by my skeleton friend. Maybe. I think that this might sort of kind of work, but not really. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go grab my tripod. It's literally just right in the other room. I'll be right back. Okay, this little tripod is like for real the best purchase I ever made. I use it all the time for everything because I need you guys, you're gonna need to see me, and I know that I can do this on my computer, but now that all the rules have changed for this morning, I need to adapt. There we go. I even cleaned my floor in my studio for you guys. Right? That's all we can do. Got to keep up. Okay. All right, so now I'm the headless horseman. That's okay. So what we're going to do is we are all going to, I hope this is super entertaining for everybody. I feel like the Keystone Cops right now, anybody that knows who that is. So I'm headless, but you don't need to see my head for this part. I might pop down every once in a while and say hi. So we're in our chair, And now we're gonna turn in one direction, and my butt cheek is hanging off of the chair. This butt cheek, it's my left butt cheek, is on the chair, and that knee is pointing straight ahead of me, in the direction that I'm facing. And then my other leg is pointed towards the ground. So I look a little bit like I'm getting ready to run a race, right? And I wish you could see my toes. Because the foot position actually matters too. There we go. Fantastic. So here I am ready to run a race. Okay, so now what you're gonna do is you wanna try to keep your hips square, and then I like to put my foot like that on the ground so my toe is pointing behind me. And now you're going to drop your knee towards the ground, and you're gonna push this hip forward. And you should feel a pretty good stretch along your quad, maybe into the outside of the hip and maybe into the inside of the hip. You can grasp the back of your chair with your hands to assist if you want to. You want to push that forward. If you're already super duper flexible, you can use your hand and you can push the hip forward a little bit more. You can also lean back. You can also press the foot on the floor into the ground a little bit more. We're going to hold this for a few more seconds. Breathe through it. And now slide your back leg back a little bit more, and we're going to do the same thing. So you're going to drop that knee towards the ground. Listen to your body. My knee is a little tight today. It's not super happy with this position. So I am not going to go as deep in this position as I did in the first position, because I've been sitting so much. I need to do some specific things for my knees later after this class. Again, I'm pushing forward with my hip. And now for those of you that have a back to your chair, I'm going to twist towards the back of the chair, but I'm going to try to twist from the hip, not from the spine. So I'm still pushing my knee towards the ground, and then I'm corkscrewing towards the back of the chair, and I'm feeling a really deep stretch now into the upper inner thigh. This stretch is particularly good for your psoas muscle. All right, so we're going to go to the other side. I typically would hold these for about 30 seconds each, sometimes up to 2 minutes, depending on what my body is telling me. Because we got started late, we're going to flow through them just a little bit faster. So if anybody has any questions, Gretchen, please feel free to stop me, okay? So now we're going to go the other way. Hips are square, facing the direction that my body is facing.
You got it.
My left butt cheek is in. My right butt cheek is now on the ground. I'm on my toe because I have short little legs. If your foot touches the ground, that's fine. Good for you, tall person. And then I'm going to point my toe behind me, and I'm going to drop the knee towards the ground, pushing this hip forward. Do you guys feel stretches? I can't see anything, so you may have to unmute yourself. It's very strange. I feel like I'm just talking to myself. Usually I can see. Pressing that
I think
forward.
there's one person who says they still can't hear you, but I can hear you.
Okay, are we recording? I've had a lot of people ask if we're recording stuff.
Yes. Yes, we record
so
on our end. So yeah, we're recording. Yeah, so we're in the midst of trying to figure that all out right now. Yeah, we're going to be sending out that information as soon as we can.
Okay, stretch the leg behind you. Doesn't have to be perfectly straight. And again, I'm just doing what my body is allowing me to do. My hip wants to go like this and open up. I'm trying to keep it square and pushing the hip forward as I'm reaching back with the foot.
Crystal, I have one person who asked, if your foot cramps, can you not point it?
Sure, absolutely. And if your foot cramps, that may tell you you need to do something with your feet. Just like my knee was not happy about that stretch. And I knew that my mechanics were good, so that tells me there's something going on with my knee. So I'm gonna go look at my knee later, but I don't want you guys to have to sit here while I figure out what's going on with my knee. So it could be that the foot itself needs some stimulation or stretching, or it could be, you know, an underlying issue that needs, you know, that maybe they're already in process of working on. Okay, so my hips feel nice and loose now. I think a lot of people know me in this call, so I'm feeling very casual today. I saw, when I was on my computer, I saw a lot of faces that I recognized. Okay, so hopefully your hips are feeling groovy now, you guys. Now, we are going to stretch our ribs. And the reason why we stretch the ribs is because our ribs are crucial, not just for phonation, I mean, not just for breathing, but also for support. Again, I use air quotes because I don't use that word in my studio, but I know it's the one that most people understand. So when the pressure changes happen when we sing, our body needs to be flexible. Our ribs need to stretch. They need to be able to constantly be flexible and buoyant and mobile. And so if the muscles surrounding the ribs are very rigid and don't have good mobility or range of motion, you're going to suffer right here. Okay, so we're going to stretch our ribs. So those of you that have had ballet class, if you remember the instruction to put yourself between two panes of glass. So I have an imaginary pane of glass in front of me, an imaginary pane of glass behind me. My stance, because we're doing this in the chair, my stance is wide. So my knees are pointed kind of like that. My feet are flat on the ground, okay? And now I'm going to stay between the two panes of glass, and I'm going to do this good old-fashioned side stretch. A lot of times your body will twist in the direction of your dysfunction, if I'm being honest. And what we want is to create a perfectly side stretch. You can press with this hip into the chair and then grasp your upper wrist and give it a tug. And you should feel a really yummy, yummy, yummy stretch down your side. This one's hard for me. I don't know about anybody else. And this really engages your core too. Really stretch that out. And then come back up. And now we're going to go down. And this time your hips are going to stay between the two panes of glass. And you're going to twist your torso at a 45-degree angle. You're not fully facing the floor. We're just going to twist a little bit. And you're going to feel the stretch move, hopefully, into your back. So I'm going to go down and then twist. So down and then twist. And I just felt the stretch move more into the back. And now I'm going to grab that wrist and give it a stretch. Hips are still square. I'm pressing my right hip, which is the one that's feeling the stretch. I'm pressing that right hip into the chair. And come back up. And I always get a little sweaty when I do these because I got to be honest with you. This is about as much exercise as I get these days, unfortunately. So I don't know about you, but right now I feel longer on that side. It always cracks me up. I'm like, okay, better do the other side. So between two panes of glass, we're going to go up and over. We don't want just a bend at the waist. I want you to think up and over. We're trying to get as much length here as possible. Now I'm pressing the left hip down. I'm going to grab my wrist and give it a stretch. And I'm having to really concentrate on breathing. You know, it's hard if I can't talk through it, because I can always talk. And come back up. And now we're going to do the diagonal one. Go down straight and then twist. So over and 45-degree angle. Hips are still square. I'm pressing that hip down into the chair, and I'm actually pressing it back a little bit to keep it square. Feeling a stretch up into here. Those are ribs too. You have armpit ribs. A lot of people don't. I know I never thought of that. I'm like, I have armpits, but I didn't connect that there were ribs in my armpits. And armpit ribs are important. They want to be loved too. And go ahead and come back up. So hopefully now your two sides feel equally stretchy. And everybody take a nice deep breath however you know how. And exhale as fully as you can. And now put your hands on your ribs and do the same thing. And I want you to notice if you're feeling a little bit more range of motion of the ribs. It's okay for them to come up on the inhale, and we really want them to come down on the exhale. So inhale again. Exhale. And I don't know about you guys, that's the first easy breath I've taken today, because I woke up with a thing here in my back, which we're going to do next. And those of you that do yoga, you probably know the term cat and cow. It's a spine stretch. So we're going to do that next. And we're cheating a little bit. You're in your chair, but you're not sitting in your chair. So for this one, I'm going to go like this. I'm making fists, and I'm going to put my fists on the chair. It's better for your wrists than going like that or like that. Okay, so fists. And then I'm going to show you what we think of traditionally as cat and cow, where you just arch like a cat that's angry, and then you push your back down like a cow, like a sway back cow. Now, what I like to do is I like to actually isolate. So I will do cat and cow in a higher location, in the middle part of my back, and in the lower part of my back, trying to isolate. Now, remember, those of you that have back issues, please be very careful with all of these exercises, because they're very intense and they're wonderful, but you really have to, we all need to listen to our body. I don't want people hurting themselves, okay? So I'm going to do a couple more because my back was really tight. So I'm going to do a couple more just normal ones. And if you can see me, you'll see my thoracic spine right here is really doing all the work. That happens to be where I'm very hypermobile. And that happens to be where I get a lot of back pain. Huh, coincidence? I think not. So that part of my back is willing to do this. I'm going to see if I can get the less flexible, less mobile parts of my back now to do it. So I'm going to move up in between my shoulder blades, and I'm trying to isolate and only do cat-cow in the top part of my spine. So hopefully you're seeing that less of my thoracic spine is moving and more just the upper thoracic. It's very hard. And now I'm going to move down, and I'm going to do the same thing with my lumbar, which is even harder for me. I have very little mobility in my lower lumbar because I'm old and I don't do this enough. Oh, this sure is a good stretch, even though she's only moving a little bit. And I'm doing all sorts of things. Like I push with my feet, I push my hips back. I feel like I'm tucking my pelvis. I do whatever it takes to get that stretch happening.
So we have, I want to let you know, Gabrielle, who is tuning into our classes, is from France. And she Woo! Said that they call it cat and dog, not cat and cow. Interesting. Thanks for that, Gabrielle.
I have a little old dog, and she's like that. She's totally like that. She's like a fat little sausage with a pot belly. I love it. Awesome. Does anybody have any questions about anything so far? We're getting ready to move on to the neck. Actually, I think I want to do the chest and the shoulders. Then we're going to move to the neck. No questions? Hopefully everybody's starting to feel better. I'm starting to feel better. Okay, so let us do our chest, and it's pretty much just chest and collarbone area. I don't really do anything specifically for the shoulder. Well, I do. I have so many of these, you guys. I'm just picking my favorites that I think are going to be the easiest to do in this format. So with this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to reach back and I'm going to grab the back of my chair with my hands like this. And I might play around because I have all sorts of fun little loopy things that I can grab a hold of. So I might play around with positions on this. Usually I would do the stretch in a door where I go to the door and I grab the door jambs and then I lean like that. But because we're doing it all in the chair and it's kind of fun, I'm going to grab the back of the chair and then I'm kind of wrapping my feet around the bottom a little bit and I'm arching my back. I'm going to drop my head back a little bit and I'm feeling a deep stretch all along the front of the shoulders, under the collarbone, across to the other side. This one is very important because our pecs, period. Our pecs can be real troublemakers for singers. They try to help us when they shouldn't. They try to help us in a postural way. They try to contract to help us support. And we really do not need that kind of help. So this is a good stretch to just kind of get a little more openness here in the chest so that it can react to those pressure changes again, which is the way that I describe what support is your reaction to the pressure changes that happen when you're singing. So I'm going to play around with moving my hands into a different position, and maybe you guys can too. Now they're closer and a little further down. Yeah. I actually like this stretch a little bit better than my first position, and I don't even have to lift my chin up as much. Oh, that's yummy. Underneath the collarbone. We want that collarbone to be mobile too. Okay, let's look at the neck. This is one of my favorite things to do. And in order to do this, you can't see, but I'm going to take my hands and I'm going to grab, get in a position. So I'm going to grab underneath the seat of my chair at some point to deepen the stretch a little bit. There's a couple different things you can do, but since we're playing with the chair, that's what I'm going to use for leverage. So with this, make sure that you move really slowly through each position, taking your time and moving incrementally. So we don't want to just go, because that can cause, like I call it rebound tightening, which is almost like a spasm of the muscle because it's like, what are you doing? And then it freaks out and it tightens up more, and we do not want that, okay? So we're going to start by just taking your left ear and putting, or I guess maybe it'd be a right ear, I don't know if you're mirroring me, and putting it towards the shoulder. And I'm trying to make sure that my entire face is still forward. It was trying to go all sorts of weird places because this is the side that I had the weird upper back thing this morning. So I'm just dropping my ear towards my shoulder. Now to deepen the stretch, you can do one of two things or both. You can take your hand and gently traction downward. You can take this hand and grab the seat of your chair, and that's going to get more out into your traps here in the side. Oh, there's my little doggy barking. I don't know if you guys hear her. And now very gently and slowly, I want you to take your nose and you're going to keep your ear towards your shoulder and you're going to turn your head like you're trying to smell your armpit. And I just released the chair to make this happen. And I'm going to hang out here for a few minutes, not minutes, seconds. And then traction again. Gretchen, how are we doing on time? I want to make sure I can get to a couple other things.
You have about 10 minutes left.
Perfect. Thank you.
No problem.
And now I'm going to grab the chair with my hand. Oh, this one kind of hurts a little bit. And so I'm feeling the stretch now more in the back side of my neck a little bit. This is going to be more for your posterior scalenes. And I think it even gets a little bit into Oh shoot, I can't remember the name of the muscles back there. They're the two that bother me all the time. I think splenius capitis. Linda, you're on this call. Which one's are they? Help me. And then I'm going to flow through the position of my nose forward and then nose up. And again, I let go. And now I'm feeling the stretch move more into the front, into the anterior scalenes, and a little bit of my sternocleidomastoid. If you're familiar with those, some people call them SCMs, and they can be real troublemakers for singers. I'm going to do the same thing. Leveraging down, my nose is still up, my ears towards my shoulder, and I'm not just going like this. My torso is still in an alignment. I'm only stretching the neck. Then I'm going to grab the chair, and oh boy, yeah, she's tight. And then I'm going to flow through that nose forward position again. Now I'm going to do a really long, slow neck roll to the other side. Feeling all sorts of stretching along the way. Should have worn my hair up. Sorry, guys. Now my ear is on my other shoulder. And I'm just going to hang out here. And then deepen the stretch. And then I'm adding the leverage of the hand. Oh, my little doggy came to say hi. I don't know if you guys can see her or not. Hi, Coco. You see her little head? She's my little deaf and blind dog. She's 13, and her whole life is spent trying to find me. She's so excited that she just found me. She's like, can I sit in your lap? I love you. Okay, and now I'm going to gently and slowly turn my nose and look at my armpit. Hang out here. Ooh, I can already feel a deep stretch without even grabbing the chair or leveraging. So what I'm feeling on this side might be coming from this side. That's interesting. But sometimes that's the way it works. I'm adding the chair. Hi, Coco. Yes, you're so smart that you found me. And now I'm going to flow through the nose forward, all the way up. I'm listening to my body. This side does not want to go as far as the other side. I don't know. I don't know. But I'm like, all right, that's all you got for me? Okay, I'm just going to hang out here. And then a little stretch. And now, oh, I can almost not even reach the chair to grab it on this side. So that tells me, something's going on. Maybe I should look at it, which I'm not going to do. Well, you guys are on the call because that's not what this is about. But if you find things along the way, you're like, oh, that's really hard, or that's strange that it's only on one side. That's a clue. That's your body telling you something. It's like, hey, pay attention to this. Something's going on. Instrumentalists, I know there's a few instrumentalists on the call too. Nose forward. And then we're going to roll down to the nose towards the floor. And then head up. Instrumentalists have the same type of a thing. You know, flute players, violin. My favorite is drummers because they're very asymmetrical in their shoulders. And so just like with singers, we get particular and repetitive stress injuries. Instrumentalists do too. We're all athletes. It's just, you know, some are more like table tennis or golf as opposed to football. So any instrumentalist that's performing at a professional level has to have an incredible amount of physical coordination to do that. So that's an athlete in my book. All right, you guys, we're gonna just do a couple more fun little things, okay? We're gonna do a little bit of stretching for inside. Now we're getting up to the vocal tract, okay? So the first thing you're gonna do, I'm going to adjust my thingy here, tripod. Like, what is this thing called again? Oh! Look what happened when I got up. I almost sat on her. Coco, that's my chair. There she goes. All right. Oh, that's a little too high. Okay. Okay, Coco, I'm gonna sit on you. She is funny. Okay. So what we're gonna do now is we are going to, I want you to take all of your little fingers and find your collarbone. Put your fingers on top of your collarbone and then find right underneath. There should be a little groove right underneath your collarbone. Now I want you to press in with all 8 fingers because your thumbs, I mean, maybe you can find a way to get your thumbs in there, but mine don't. So I'm pressing in and now I'm gonna look up towards the ceiling and I'm feeling a nice little stretch in the front of my throat. And go ahead and come back down. I'm gonna do that again. Chin towards the ceiling. And this time I want you to stick your chin out, give yourself an underbite. You should feel the stretch deepen. And let the jaw come back and down. With these in particular, it's important that you do one and then rest, and then do it and then rest. I don't want you to stay in that position and move from like the regular to the jaw out to the next one, which is going to be the tongue out. Because again, we don't want to have the body freak out and then tighten up more. So you do one and you go, how was that? Then you do the next one, hey, see, that wasn't so bad. Then you do the third one. So this time we're going to go up, we're going to do our underbite, and then we're going to stick our tongue out and pretend like we're licking the ceiling, okay? So I'm still anchoring here, chin up as far as my body is comfortable, feeling a nice little yummy stretch. Underbite, sticking my chin up towards the ceiling. And now I'm going to stick out my tongue. And then lick the ceiling 3 times. And come back down. So that should have felt like a really nice little stretch in here. Next, we're looking on the inside now. Let me move my chair closer. So for this one now, what you're going to do is you're going to suck your tongue up into the roof of your mouth like you're going to click, like that, but you're not going to click. You're going to leave your tongue there, and then you're going to open and close your jaw like this. And if you can cradle your jaw and do the movement with your hand. That will train the jaw to be less active and more passive, which is what we want for singing. So this time I'm going to cradle my jaw and I'm going to do the movement just with my hands. I know it looks funny, but it is a really great one. What's that? Oh, okay. All right, so then the last thing we're going to do is we're going to stretch our pharynx. So to do this, we're going to find a reference point. If you can make yourself have puffy cheeks and blow into your mouth. And now what you're going to do is you're going to pretend like you're about to sneeze. And then do that blowing thing again and see if you can feel a stretch back behind your nose. I feel a stretch way back there, going like this. And I'm not blowing into my ears. I feel like it's right behind my nose. These take a little bit of, well, a lot of practice to be able to really refine. Then the second one, we're going to pretend like we just took a bite of like a hot pizza or a hot potato or something. And I feel, you know how you go, when you have the hot food and you don't want to spit it out on the floor in front of your friends. So you're going to do that stretch and then you're going to blow. So. And now I feel a stretch straight back. I almost feel like the back of my skull is stretching, which took me many years to find, by the way. So if you don't find that today, it's all right. It takes a while.
And then the third one is you're going to pretend like you're getting ready to yawn. You want to make sure you're not yawning with your tongue. It's not that kind of a yawn. The tongue is out of the way. I have a yawn stuck down here, and then I'm going to do the same thing. And now I'm feeling a stretch lower in my throat as I blow. So that is, I think we've covered just about everything.
That was amazing. There was all those stretches were like, I've never felt some of that. The neck stretch, ooh, I was just like, there's something happening there that I was not aware of.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. When you blow, should air be moving out of your nose? Nope, it's all inside. I'm trying to increase the air pressure, like a balloon inside me going like that. It's an internal stretch. Yeah. So, and hopefully you guys, like if you did a quick scan of your body now, like just a mental scan, I call it looking with your inside eyes. If you look inside and you do a quick scan, you might go, you know what? I feel like I could sing right now. My body's feeling good. It's feeling loose. It's feeling like I've been singing for a half an hour. Especially if you're really crusty when you first start to sing. If you feel like it takes you 45 minutes to warm up, you need to stretch first, and then it'll take you like 5 minutes. So, I mean, I literally, like, I would now do probably one scale and be ready to sing. Well, if you're really wanting me to belt, I might need to do another scale. But yeah, if I was just doing like my like Sondheim mixy kind of speech level thing, or legit Rodgers and Hammerstein, one scale, just to make sure everything's in the chute, and I'd be ready to go. So this, I prefer doing this instead of running scales and feeling that gross for 30 minutes until my body figures out what to do. So.
Crystal, you are incredible. This is so helpful. Thanks. Everybody, please give Crystal a round of applause, a virtual round of applause. Thank you so much for your time again, Crystal. We really appreciate it. Everyone have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.
All right, see you. Bye.